Awesome. So, wow, looks like you're off to a great start this month.
Well,
We're almost through.
I yeah, I mean, I feel grateful. I mean, I sort of do this in my head. you know, BC before Cathy. I just, I just go, yeah, I think I'm all right this month. Oh God, I got nothing this month. Okay, better get busy. Whatever. But I actually said to my wife about a week ago, I said, you're gonna believe this, but I've had 4 phone calls and 3 of them turned into 4 things, right? So that feels great. So
So I bet it does feel great. So tell me, what what do you think contributed to that? What do you think?
yeah, I think that the number one thing, and I've been very thoughtful about this since you and I have been talking. Um,
Okay.
I, I'm obviously not the ultimate agent. I'll never be a top producer. I don't really have that. I don't. I mean, I'm fine if I am, but I'll never necessarily aspire to that. I've got other aspirations. You know that. But I think I do have a great referral business that took a long time for all my church people to understand that a person can do 2 things, right? They can write a song and they can help with a real estate transaction. It took me, I mean, a solid 18 to 24 months for people to go, all right, he helped out my friend with their $1.1 million home. He can't be an idiot, and that kind of thing. So it took a long time, and I worked really hard, I guess, early on. But anyway, I feel like from a referral standpoint, these are all referrals. And I'm like, all right, you know what? I just need to gently, not over the top, but gently nurture the database. To me,
Yeah. Yep. And we've been setting up things so that you can do that. Let me
yeah,
just kind of do what you've got here. So in June you had 4 appointments, you took 3 listings, and you have 3 buyers under contract.
right. So
And,
one of the buyers is the crush. She's been under contract since January, right? So
okay.
she closes Saturday. So
Awesome.
I've got. So if I go through listings, Dewberry is an investment house for a buddy, the guy who built my house. Shane View is my buy sell. It's actually my cousin, who I never see and barely know, but and Adobe Trail, which was a straight referral from church, from when I gigged at Holy Spirit. I mean, and the woman lives in Arkansas. Never met her, probably never will. She'll mobile close, right? It was a total phone thing. So those those are happening. The next one, the 2 buyers, Bannister and Galvan. Bannister is also Shane View. So, and yesterday we were with MI Homes for 2 hours. She signed up $390,000 home. We talked through every aspect of that and what I think she shouldn't do, because they can kill you on extras and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
we went through all that. I had a closing on June 1. That was a good one out in Stone Oak. This Friday, the Enfield Grove, which is Galvan, it's a cash deal. It should close, but it may be pushed to next Monday or Tuesday, or the latest Friday the 3rd. But right now it's scheduled for Friday, and then Saturday a closing. So in terms of dollars in, GCI is healthy, and Shane View, Shane View and 1604, it's under 200. It's in need of repair, but she's pricing it properly. So
Okay.
it's going to sell quick. She bought it as a foreclosure, then fixed it up and so forth. So that'll go quick. Adobe Trail went under contract in 3 days. It's going to close in July. And Dewberry is on the east side, completely redone home. It'll sell for the very low end, 150, but we're going to try to 174.9 because the market's so tight.
Awesome, David. Those are awesome results. So let me ask you before we go on any further. What's the best use of our call today? What is the one thing that we could focus on today that would really move you forward even more this week?
Really, I tell you, I benefit a lot from sort of talking out loud and hearing
Sure.
like, okay, is this the right thing? But here's where we are. Grace needs about 2 weeks to where we sort of wrap up for now, right? So we know that call with her was great. I by the grace of God, buckled down and went through all 4,300 or whatever they were to contacts to tag them. She's doing that. It'll take her a couple of weeks. So that'll be done. So that piece is like leverage, right? That's in play. I am working right now feverishly for this contract that closes Saturday because it's the first closing. So we're still waiting on HOA docs. We're still waiting on legal, all the stuff that is going to be the same for the other 17 homes. But I'm pushing every button of everybody, the superintendent, the developer, the builder, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just in the mix with those guys to get that done. And the one other thing I'm doing is spending a lot of intentional time, maybe too much, on my signage. My signage has got to be spot on for the crest. So I've met with a second graphics and manufacturing sign people yesterday. So that'll be right and in place by middle or late next week, roughly July 4th. Signage will be up.
So when you say in place, they're up on the street?
Will be by July 4, yeah. There's crummy signs up right now. That'll all be replaced. Okay.
And is it one gigantic sign at the neighborhood, or what are we talking about?
So as you're facing the subdivision front gate, to the left will be an 8x8, two-sided in a V, so that I capture northbound and southbound Vance Jackson, right? Angled just right. And I've already had a sign guy come and do it once, and so we're going to stand there and paint the ground exactly on the angles, right? So there's no question about getting, eyeballs on both sides. So it won't be a perfect V. It'll be, whatever it needs to be. On the other side, where I don't have as much space and there's a nice tree, it's kind of in the way, we're going to do a variation of that 8x8. That's a 4x8, right? Up about 20 inches on pegs where it is now, two-sided. So again, same basic information. We know it's most important. 18 homes, my phone number, web, or my email, and colors will be basically KW colors to pop, because I'm losing eyeballs to the sky. The sign is white, and it was a bad design given the background. So that's all going to change. I've decided on my hours. I've looked at a lot of model homes, and I know that at some point I'm going to do leverage and get some realtors in there, some that I trust, some that are coming through coaching. If what's his name, or you, frankly, if you, Tyler, whoever it is. But I'm going to do what most model homes are doing is Tuesday through Saturday, they do 10 to 6. I'm going to do 10 to 5. I think 10 to 6, I'm going to try 10 to 5. And I'm going to do Sunday, Monday, noon to 6, right? Pretty much every model home in town, because they all do sales meetings on Monday morning. So that'll give me a touch of relief on Sunday, Monday. And then my guess is in 90 days, and the developer knows this, I'll bring in some people who will sit there on their own for free, with the prospect of getting a walk-in client.
And when does it start, David, where you're actually sitting in the home?
I'd love to say July 4th. He says week after next, he's putting in furniture. July 15th, I guess I'll be in there. Right.
Okay. So we sort of have, trying to make hay while the sun's shining between now and July 15th. So we can talk about that. And then I'm curious about how you're going to handle all your business and other business while you're sitting in a model for 8 hours a day. So
So here's my theory, and I've sat in a model home before. It's been years, and I've done some model home work with other builders just to get my toe in the water a little bit. If I get one a day that's a real client, that's a good day, right? I'm gonna have a lot of downtime, right? So I'm gonna run my business from where I'm sitting. I don't see any. Right now I'm running it from coffee shops and from a chair in my living room, right? I don't see any transitional worry, change, whatever. Am I crazy? I just think I'm going to flow right into it.
Well, especially with COVID-19 practices and how you're hunkering, down and doing a lot from home. I think you're probably on the right track there. Let's explore it a little bit more. So is everything in place? What else needs to be in place for you to be able to do business in that model home?
So, so the one thing I sort of not worry about, but as a challenge is buyers, right? I mean, listings, I can work that out because it's 1 or 2 meetings, right? Or I go after work to, you know, to put up sign. So buyers, my developer understands I have a referral business, right? And we've set up the model home like an open house. It's got a Supra. So the sign will say, you know, hours, and then by appointment, you know, and then something about realtors, you know, use showing time. I don't know the wording on that signage, but basically I'll have it, I'm gonna change the listing on MLS to say, treat this as an open house. Like, don't wait on me, right? I don't see a reason why not to do that. They'll just like they'd see a home behind in a gated community when they make a booking at showing time. I'll have it 9 to 6, so they can't go there in the evenings, right? But they'll get a gate code. They'll be able to get a gate. They'll have a Supra, probably not on the front door, but on the side, so my front door doesn't look bad. And they treat it like a showing.
So those comments are going to be in the agent confidential remarks, not in the public. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't, frankly, I haven't known where I'm going to put them, but I thought, but I'm going to make that note for the crest.
Because where do you think it should be?
Yeah, to treat it like a go, so that they know to treat it like a go and show.
Yeah.
Right.
Go and show maybe a different world than open house if it's going to be out on the internet that way.
Yeah, not open house, right? That's the wrong word. Go and show.
Okay. So let me just make sure I'm hearing you. So you're going to be there like between the hours of 10 and 5, Tuesday through Saturday, you said, and 12 to 6 the others. And if you have to go do something during that time, agents can still bring, and you would have some kind of notes for other buyers without agents to call you.
Right.
Is that
my
what you're
thought
saying?
is, yeah, my thought is, if I generally with a buyer, if we're going to go look at 3 or 4, I know in advance, and I can either ping into a couple agents to see if they want to sit there for 3 hours. If I don't find it, the developer is basically okay with that, you know, where it says these hours and by appointment. I think in general, I'm probably going to push my buyer viewings to 5 p.m., which is not unlike where they are already, right? That you know, it's when they're off work.
How many buyers are you working with currently at a time? Like right now, you've already submitted a contract there. You've got Bannister. You generally work with buyers at a time, or?
Right now, I'm working with these 2, you know, earlier this year, at one time I had 4, which is a little maddening. And then once they're in the contract, that was a break. That was the end of February. So, but on the seller side, I've got 1, 2, 3 listings that are. I mean, I've got more, but 3 that are just either coming on or very active right now.
But it's the buyers that are the concern.
That's right.
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 So with 2, yeah, most of the time you could do 5, and if you had to, that was that house on the market that had to go right now or something, you probably could put that sign up and then go. Is there anything else? And I was thinking logistically too, with the house itself, is it going to be able to handle Wi-Fi and all those things for you to be able to really do your business there? Is there anything else you should be thinking about?
Yeah, because they're putting in TV and Spectrum and all the business, so that they want to be up and running Wi-Fi, which is great. I have a hotspot if it goes south, that kind of thing. One other piece that I've become good buds with Cindy Bachicha. She's helped me a bunch. I've helped her, except for one occasion when I could not at a liturgy. But she's my go-to buyer agent because she's just a pro. And basically, we don't have anything written down, but if she shows 4 or 5 houses, I send her a check for a couple $100. That's time, energy, and all that. And so if I need to be at the model home, especially early on the next 90 days, I need to stay put while it's fresh and hot. Cindy is a go-to person, for and if I set that up, if I set expectations with a buyer, hey, here's what I'm doing, I just tell them, right? And if they don't want to work with me, they don't. But anyway, so that's my plan.
Okay, I think you've thought that through. So sounds like we're pretty much set up for the 15th. You've got your database intact, so you can be making a bunch of phone calls. So between now and the 15th, what can you be doing to really maximize that time? Because you've got daytime time now, between now and the 15th, to really generate more business.
Okay. Let me ask myself that question. I mean, I just wrote that down to spend an hour twice in the next 3 or 4 days. And I'll tell you one thing that I'm already doing, and that is I hired Courtney. Right? That's a little bit of leverage, and it's affordable, and we're doing a 3-month deal. And so that leverage is helping us really focus on the crest, but also me. So I'll spend a little time to try and be intentional, say, what am I missing, right? What can I do in the next couple of weeks? My guess is it's probably setting up some of the plans, right? I mean, I know she's already setting up a couple of them, but if I can set up a couple that I know, frankly, that I'll follow through on, right? Big question. Then
Are you talking smart plans in command, or what do you mean plans?
Plans. I meant smart plan. Getting in command and setting some stuff up, just creating some leverage within command. To me, that's what I can spend time on between now and then. Now, if I get sideways with whatever, then I know this. Once I'm in the model home, all this, a lot of dust kicking up activity to get in the model home, it's all going to come crashing down and settle down, and I'll be a little bit settled. So I'll be able to. I think I can work out stuff right now, but I can really start executing when I know I got to be somewhere from 10 to 5. 5 days a week.
So David, what you've been doing with this builder is I want to come back to that thought because I'm thinking 2 things right here. The first one I want to ask is, you got your database into place, right? And Grace got it all up into command, the virtual assistant, contact type smart plans. Now that it's in place, how much time are you going to actually, or is there a goal for how many people you want to be contacting a day or talking to a day now that it's in place?
Yeah, I don't have that. I mean, so I need to think about that.
Yeah, between now and the 15th, and also, so the first half of the month, you can come back to me next week about that on our call. And also once you're in the model home, and what's realistic to think of how many people you could speak to in a day. Because that referral business is huge, right? And to generate it even further, we talked about it on your Life by Design form when we went through that. What does that take to push it further?
Right.
What is it?
Right. Well, I actually just think it takes being in relationship or in communication. I feel like I'm in relationship, and I don't necessarily feel like I have to be in communication regarding real estate. I just have to be in communication, right? So the Thursday 40-second video that I did all of last year, I may kick that back into gear, and that may be pretty much all I do. I know that what I have to do is create things that I know I will follow through on. So the idea that I'm going to make X amount of calls every day for 5 days a week, I'm not sure I'm going to follow through on that. For my people who seem to be calling me, for which I'm grateful, I'm not sure that directive approach is warranted or is even virtuous. So I'm thinking through, what do they care about? If they hear from me with some sort of little 40-second message, that may be the best thing I can do, and don't do more. Don't push them into, it's time to clean your gutters kind of stuff, right? So, I mean, that's not a bad thing, but I want to think through that. I have hesitated to get super real estate-y on people, and on purpose. What seems to work is being in touch, just a simple touch. So I want to continue to I guess prove that out or disprove it, right?
So why don't you this week an assignment, look at the SMART plans, and not that you have to create the SMART plan because you can custom create them. Mm-hmm. Think about how many times you do want to have a touch and what kind, because Command offers so many opportunities. And then we can talk, dig a little bit more deeper on that and help you come up with a plan that you know how to set up. So really, I guess just a little bit of soul searching. So if it just requires keeping your presence with them, how much touching is needs out? Now Gary says a 36 touch, 6 times, 36 times a year, which really is a couple of emails a month, some social media posts and maybe 4 phone calls a year or anything like that. That could be a 36 touch. You're in front of them with your music in a lot of ways, right? So, they probably play your music on their phone. Mm-hmm. And so you are in touch with them, but to bring them back and remind them, you do both, to just kind of have that presence. How much touch do you need? So that's that's the first one. The second one I want to know is, and think about, I want to just put this in your, jog your thoughts about it a little bit. You're creating something beautiful with this builder, right? Mm-hmm. So you've created how to market it, how to do it, how to, set everything up from the beginning with this builder. I'm wondering how you could duplicate this, how you could do it again, and how you could make that kind of systematic. What would it take to do this again?
Right. So we are actually we're one probably of a few proposals. I think I mentioned this to you, for a piece of property close by. We'll know in 2 weeks. If we get it, it'll be quite a coup. It'll be probably 45 homes, maybe 40, and it would take, of course, 2 years to develop and build. But he's already been through the ringer on that already. So, it would create plenty for the next, and that's a 5 or 6 year haul, because it'll take 2 years to get me a model home, right? So, and we'll sell them all in 3 years. But what I've got, right? You're absolutely right. What I've got on my hands is I've got a pool of trusted sort of investor types who, if we needed to ramp up and raise anywhere from 3 to 10 million, we could. They're interested in a guaranteed return, and we can provide them that, obviously given all the risks. I've got the builders and developers on that side. It's really finding properties. And I told you about this whole countywide thing that we're looking at, right?
And I don't remember that.
So there are, in Bexar County, 10,000 vacant lots and more than 10,000 abandoned homes. So we are doing this. It's a very long ball. It's a Hail Mary pass. But a guy who actually, me and Danny, the guy who built my house, who's a builder, banker, we're working with this guy because he's a consultant. He's got all the councilmen in his speed dial, of trying to do affordable housing where the profit and overhead for the builder is pretty slim. But we start with 100 lots, and we get them for free, and they're tax-free until the house is built. It's a partnership with the county, because they're making nothing on these homes, on these lots. They're behind in they're behind in taxes and so forth. So it's a long ball, but we are trying to get this consultant to help us put this together, where we start with 100 and we have an RFR on more. Well, that's an end game right there, with 10,000 vacant lots in Bexar County. So it's a long ball.
David, hang on just a sec.
You got to go. Talking to me?
On. So what needs to be documented, and how can things be documented so that you can repeat what you're doing again and again? Are you documenting what you're doing?
Probably not. But here's what I would say is I'll start that effort when I'm stuck there for 8 hours a day. I'm going to make a note about that.
Okay. So we can revisit that, but it seems like, just something to think about. How can that be documented? What needs to be documented? Who can document it for you? And then the last question with that is, who could you showcase what you're doing now? Like, it's one thing to be in touch with referral and repeat business, right? But
right.
Creating builder things like you're doing now, that's way leverage.
Yep.
So who needs to be knowing about what you're doing that knows other people that might be interested in what you're doing?
Infill builders.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
So
I'm too small for
what we're talking about. I've given you, there's a lot of assignments. We didn't actually get to anything. We really thought through some things.
Yep.
Go through with me what you're going to be thinking about this week.
All right. So this week, one, what can I do between now and when I get in the model home, which is essentially 2.5, 3 weeks. And then once I get in the model home, I know I need to basically document the journey of the crest from dirt to model home to successful sales, and then figure out who can help me create and visualize that story. I think it's a picture book. This is a PowerPoint, and then how to market that to other infill builders. I mean, this guy would love me to stick with him and only him, but the truth is, if I build a program like this, I can bring in other people and leverage. If I get 3%, I can leverage, give them 2 and keep 1. And now I've got real leverage.
Now that's thinking big, right?
Yeah.
So we have a lot to talk about next week.
There's one other piece, just so I got an email from Marty Miller.
Anything we need to talk about real quick? Anything else?
Yeah, just this one thing. So Marty Miller said, congratulations, you're in the top 600 KW agents. I'd like to schedule some time and get you interested in moving everything on command and save you money. He wants to pull me out of .loop. So far, I'm not interested because at last count, there were 14 workarounds that I had to figure out in zip forms and command to make it as easy as .loop. And that drives me crazy. So, but I'll have a conversation with him.
Yeah. And maybe once Courtney's through with the Crest marketing aspect.
Okay.
What if she could maybe help you with that? Would that be?
Maybe so. If she could do that, because yeah, I mean, Becky and Sarah are doing it right now. They get everything ready, they drop it into command, get it through compliance, and we're done. But they do that piece of it as part of my TC deal with them.
So bravo this week for really this month, all your production and what you've attracted. So what you're doing works. And bravo on your big thinking, really starting to really dig into how you can think bigger. Has this call been helpful to you?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you, Kathy.
Okay. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.